Here we go.
Okay. It is August 27th at 6:01 p.m. This is the regular scheduled end of August Sewer Commission meeting. My name is John Reynolds, and I'd like to start the meeting with Pledge of Allegiance. I forgot to ask Mike or Bill. Do you have a Mike? Great.
Mike's
I'll
on it.
I'll start us out. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
Flag of the United States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
Republic for which it stands,
which stands
nation,
one
under
nation
God,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Thank you. Bill, you weren't officially recorded for that. Your audio is off. Okay. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting of the Sewer Commission is being recorded and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The following information is also available for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use the link to join the public meeting webinar found on the posted agenda, or from a telephone, dial the toll-free number, 888-475-4499, and enter the webinar ID number 83187249994. No participant ID is needed. Just press pound when asked. I'm going to do a roll call vote. Commissioners, Mike Mackin.
Aye, here.
Brett Ramsden.
Aye. Here.
Aye for myself. We have a quorum of staff. We have Paula Bertram.
Here.
And Jane Rainley.
Here.
And Bill Bernard. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any public comment from the public? Seeing we don't have any public comment from any of the commissioners or staff?
Just, once again, as I had said at the last meeting, I want to wish you the best of luck, Paul, because whatever, you will be bringing, a great deal of experience and skill to your new position. And I was reflecting today on, how long you've been in service to the town, and, how sorely you will be missed.
Thank you very much, Mike.
I concur, and I would like to add that we're jealous of the town of Concord already because we know what we're losing.
Thank you. Thank you, Brett.
Appreciate the changes you've made here and the time that you've put in and all of your help. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
I obviously concur with both Mike and Brett, and maybe it is time for me to move to Concord. I don't know. Anyway.
Just
Okay.
be prepared for a tax hike.
Well, I got a big one already, but
Yeah.
Any announcements from anyone? Okay.
John.
Yep, go ahead, Bill.
Just public comment. I just wanted to add on that I've really enjoyed working with Paula. She's been amazing, and she's been a good friend to me. And this week she's gone above and beyond to make sure that I can succeed in keeping the sewer department running. And I don't know anybody else who would do what she is doing this week. I'm gonna miss her.
Thank you, Bill. I'm going to miss you guys too. I'm going to miss working with you.
We will all miss you, Paula, and I know how hard you're working to make Bill and the new employees successful. Thank you.
Greatly appreciated.
Okay. Current business. Let's see, the minutes from 8:13. Did everyone have a chance to read those?
Okay. I did not.
Okay. You don't necessarily have to read them to vote on them, but Brett, if you feel more comfortable waiting, we can wait.
No, I feel comfortable from Shane's experience and expertise and Her amazing abilities, I would be shocked if I found something that I didn't agree with.
Just, Mr. Chairman, just to, address
Yes.
Brett, they're perfect. I mean,
And sorry to have cut you off on that.
no,
Mr.
that's
Chairman.
fine. That's fine. Does anyone want to make a motion to, for the minutes of August 13th, 2024?
I make a motion that we adopt the minutes of August
13.
13th, 2024.
Okay.
And
Brett,
I'll second that motion, yes.
okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a vote for approval. Mike,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
and I for myself. The motion passes. Okay, the next item is the assistant business manager position. I asked Paula to put this on there just for no particular reason other than maybe we should just have a little discussion. We just made an offer to a person for the business manager who she accepted. The job for the assistant manager is still posted, and I assume if any resumes are coming in that Julie is working with those. Little concerned about having two new people start at the same time. And I guess I had some thoughts, maybe bringing temporarily or for short term, bringing a temp, but I'm not really sure that would be effective use of Paula's time with training and effective use of the new business manager. So just sort of thinking out loud here, Bill, I think your input will be pretty important with this. But just looking for any thoughts from anyone.
Yeah, so excuse me, we have a few candidates. Couple of them, Paula and I we were going to interview. We kind of held off. So I think at this point, we won't have any interviews set up until after we have the new business manager in place. So we'll have her input on it too. And like the interim town manager said, if one of the commissioners wants to sit in on that interview, you are welcome.
Sounds like Carter is looking for Mike to volunteer.
That's how I always get in trouble.
Yeah. So I mean, Mike, if you're interested in doing that, obviously I can't do it. Just
I of course I will.
okay. So Bill,
Okay, Mike.
keep Mike updated.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then as far as additional help, we still have we have Jane, obviously, and there's another volunteer coming in to do some refiling and cleaning up the filing cabinets. Is that right?
Yeah, Sam had a senior tax work-off program come in to help her, and she didn't have enough, so they're now cleaning out the file cabinets, and there's always plenty of work for Jane.
Okay.
And there's a lot of cleanup to do here.
I know. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead, Brett.
before we're off the subject on the assistant position, getting back to your comment, whether it's a good idea to have two new people. My thought is if we find the right person, and, we certainly don't want to lose them if they're available and want the position, number one. Number two, there can be, as hard as it might be, some minor advantages to them learning together. They might create a little bit of a support system together while they do it, and maybe help each other out along the way. Potentially, just some more thinking out loud.
I think those are good points, and I keep going back and forth on this one, which is why I said I would sort of defer to Bill and Paula, your input to determine the best way to handle that.
Mr. Chair, this is just my thoughts, is I think the new person has to get on board, and then her input is gonna be really important to Bill, as to whether or not she's ready to have someone else come in, or if she wants to get adjusted first.
Okay, that's fine.
That's fine too.
Okay. Any other comments on that? None, okay. The next item is the mailing, the recruitment of sewer commissioner volunteer letter. Or discussion. Did everyone have a chance to read the town manager's letter, which Paula also edited?
I did actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Any input on that? I have just one comment, but I'd like to hear you guys
Well,
first.
just a quick question. Who is it addressed to and how is it being distributed?
So it's addressed to all sewer district customers. And Carter and I had that discussion today as to how it's gonna be distributed. So what I did is I went through the list of our sewer customers. I was able to extract it from Munis. And I eliminated all businesses and all customers that are seriously in arrears. More than just this past billing. And I came up with a list of 751. So I asked Carter, are we responsible for mailing them and the postage? And the response was yes. So we would be printing this letter and then mailing it to all of the properties. That's 751 customers. Excuse me, my voice, I'm losing my voice. But the cost is going to be almost $500 in postage, just to make you aware.
Okay.
And it's not something I can do likely before I leave on Thursday. I'm really trying to get this manual done and get things cleared up. But I will get them printed. I have done the labels already, or get them ready to be printed. So I can get at least it ready to go out, and perhaps Jane or the other person could perhaps fold them and get them out. But I don't know how you guys want to move forward.
Well,
Go ahead.
one thought. On the mailing, Paula, would the return address say sewer commission, or would it say office of the town manager?
Well, it's from the office of the town manager, so I would put
Good.
office of the town
Right,
manager.
because as commissioners, we're responsible for the budget, but the town manager is responsible for all personnel issues, hiring, firing, reviewing. So I think it should come.
Also, the interim appointments would have to be through the Board of Selectmen.
Correct. So it should be from the town manager or from the town of Lunenburg. The return address, yeah.
I see that as a positive, because these people are getting mail from us pretty regular, and they might not pay as much attention to it. They see something from the town manager, they might be like, well, maybe I should look at this. So I see that as an extra good reason to open it up and look at it, maybe, for some of these people.
That's a good point.
I took that from Bob Pease's cue, so I can't take full credit for that thought. I was speaking with him earlier.
Okay. In the 500, the cost of mailing, I was hoping that the town would pay for it, but not really thinking they would. So I think it's a cost we have to absorb. So
we have to try.
Yeah, the only suggestion / correction I would have is the third bullet item. It says, do you know they, meaning the sewer commission, approves any extension of the existing system and various permits? Well, we can only approve an extension if it's within the sewer service area. So I don't want someone to think that we can just extend the sewer system wherever, whenever we want. It has to be within the sewer service area.
I'll
But that
add
might-
I'll add that within the sewer
Okay.
service area.
Okay. Any other comments specifically about the content?
Well, as a commissioner who is not on the system, is there any way that we can reach out to non-customers? I mean, would it be,
They put up a post on Facebook. I think we've done that, but I think Bill could do that on the Facebook page and we could also put it on the web page.
I mean,
What?
again, is it, the Ledger's got a fairly wide audience, and I was wondering whether they would do us a favor and, just post something for us. We spend a lot of money on
Right.
public ads in
Well,
there.
could we do, I guess, the equivalent of a quarter page ad and put this letter in the paper, or if someone wanted to write a letter to the editor, they don't charge space for that. do they?
If I was authorized, I would write a letter to the editor.
Okay. I think that would be great. We can take a vote. If you'd like, Brett, if you wanted to make a motion to have Mike Mackin write a letter to the editor about filling sewer commission positions, I'd entertain that.
So motioned.
Okay. Mike, I guess you'll have to second that.
Second,
All right, let's take any further discussion on that. Okay, take a vote. Brett,
Aye.
Mike,
I,
and I for myself. It passes. Go for
Mr.
it, Mike. Go for
Mr.
it.
Mr. Chairman, do we have to approve this letter going out to from the manager? Probably not, right? And thank you, Mike.
He did want your approval, and he also would like you to sign the letter, John, before it goes out. So
Sure.
as you saw on the copy, he signed his
I can
first
only
name.
sign it,
He would like you to do that.
I can only sign it until midnight, Friday night, so.
Okay.
Or
Well,
is
I'm
that
only gonna be here through
Saturday?
Thursday at 3, so.
Okay, okay. All right, so if someone wants to make a
Uh,
motion to approve the town manager sending a letter to the sewer customers about vacant positions.
Yes, I mean, I could probably sign it Thursday morning.
It's
No,
it's just from John and Carter.
Yeah, I'll sign it.
oh,
It's about
right.
making a motion to
I'm sorry, I
vote
missed it. I was
to have the
distracted.
town manager send a letter out.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to have the town manager send out this letter to our 700 plus customers.
Okay. Anyone want to second that?
second,
Okay, any further discussion?
And one discussion point, Carter, as I said, I called out the businesses and anyone who was in arrears more than a couple months. Carter wanted to leave up to the commission as to whether or not to not send it to people that are in arrears, and I want to make sure that you're okay with that.
Yeah, I think so. Brett mentioned 700. So,
Yeah, it's 751, but
Yeah,
okay, I think yeah, I don't think we need to make a motion to amend
okay,
that.
okay. I just want to make sure that's okay.
Sure,
with you.
sure. No, thank you, Paula, for clarifying. All right, motion was made. We had discussion. Let's take a vote. Brett,
aye.
Mike,
I,
and I for myself. The motion to have the town manager send the letter out has passed. Okay. Potential special town meeting articles.
So I'm not sure if I sent this out. Did I
Yeah,
send it
I
out? Okay.
yeah,
So depending on what our situation is at the end of the fiscal 24, and I'm not sure yet because the year hasn't been closed, there may need to be adjustments from our fiscal 24 budget. And looking back historically, it looks like it's a pretty routine practice at the special town meeting. In some cases, there are surplus funds, and in some cases, there's a deficit. And money has to be taken from retained earnings. And quite frankly, I can't tell you where we are right now because unfortunately, although I can tell you what we spent, I can't tell you what we've brought in because we don't have a window into that. Or we do have a window, but it's not up to date. So I put together a couple potential articles. I'm assuming you will have to do an article or two. So I've just left them pretty generic right now. And in my ongoing project list, I've kind of outlined what needs to happen as far as submitting them and finalizing the numbers. But they do have to be submitted before the close of the warrant. So I just wanted you guys to be aware that these are going to need to go on to the special town meeting. And I don't know if you want to vote them now or if you want to wait until the first meeting in September, but my concern is you may not have a quorum in September. So I don't know what to do with this.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, since what we're talking about is basically a fill in the blank.
Hmm.
Template.
Yeah.
So
I'm
sure
we
there's-
know, we do know
Hmm.
you're going to have to do some sort of article. So in some circumstances, what Barb has done in the past is just submit the article stating the very generic one stating that to see if a town will vote and to raise and appropriate, borrow, or transfer from available funds all sums of money necessary to amend the amounts voted for the fiscal 2024 sewer enterprise budget. So I know you're going to need that one.
Okay, so what you're
Um,
talking about is just a placeholder amendment right now.
Exactly.
And so
exactly.
I would be in favor of acting on that now.
Now, would it be sufficient just when a motion's made to reference what Paula sent out, or will we need to read these? I think if Jane could include them in the minutes, would that be enough, or do you think we need to read these?
Now, I
About-
took this from some generic wordings from Barb, but there may need to be additional. And I will be coming back to do training. So I almost think that because of the situation we're in, that you need to make a motion to submit placeholder articles as required to adjust the fiscal 24 budget. That would be my recommended motion because what I've covered may not be everything. So I think the motion needs to be very generic, and then Bill and the new sewer business manager can submit them based on that motion.
Okay, so Mike, if you want to make a motion for what Paula just,
Okay, so let's do it this way.
I was gonna say, did you catch all that? 'Cause-
Yeah. If Paula, you could repeat the placeholder language, and that will be my motion.
Well, I think there's maybe need to be more than one placeholder. So that's the thing, is because you may need to move money around. You may need to move money into the capital reserve. You may need to take money from retained earnings. You may need to put money into retained earnings. So we don't know yet. So what I would recommend the motion be is that the commission approves the submission of articles to adjust the fiscal 24 budget as needed at the close of the year.
So moved.
Brett, would you like to second that?
I would love to second that.
Okay, any further discussion on that?
After this motion is approved, there is something I wanted to talk about that's related to this, but it's out of step with where we are on the agenda, but I don't know where else to do it, so let's vote on this and move. And I have a
All right, so
question.
we have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. We'll take a roll call vote. Brett,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
and I for myself, the motion passes. Okay, Brett,
So
go ahead.
this last discussion brought up something I meant to bring up, and I don't know where to bring it up in the agenda, because it's not really a public comment. It's more of a, where the hell do we go from here kind of situation, because if in fact we don't have a quorum available in the foreseeable future, God forbid, that could be weeks, it could be months, I hate to say it. How do we function, period, moving forward? I mean, we can't function as a commission officially. Where do I and Mike and myself stand in relation to Bill, Jane, our new manager? How do we, do we
Well-
exist anymore? Where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, you will still both be sewer commissioners, so I would hope that Bill, mostly Bill and the new business manager will keep the two of you updated with
Okay.
what's going on within the sewers. And
Pretty terrible timing with the new manager too.
right,
She-
even the timing's bad, even if we had a quorum.
Yeah,
I'm going to just follow up. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just going to
Sure.
follow up on this because, the number of questions I have in my head is that, can we sign off on, the various, documents that are required to sign for the enterprise fund to do business? I mean, I'm concerned about, how this will work or whether the town charter has any fallback to, the commission. I mean, at
Well,
one point, the Board of Selectmen were the sewer commission way back when.
Right.
yeah,
Well,
I
then,
don't know.
all good questions.
I can tell you that from my research, even if you don't have a quorum, you cannot meet.
But
And a
can
majority
but
cannot
can-
be constituted from 2 members.
But
So because you're a 5-member commission, it really does handicap you.
how does it, how will it affect the day-to-day ability of the office to do business?
So I think the office can do business. I think it's going to be imperative that you get somebody before the November meeting at the latest. And the reason for that is because the only ones who can authorize a commitment is the sewer commission. And that's the billing commitment. So, that concerns me. As
And
far
what's
as the
that date?
day-to-day operations, my assumption would be that Bill would be making those decisions and informing you guys and certainly seeking input from you. But ultimately making the decisions. So for example, about repairs, et cetera, that would be my guess. Bill, I don't know if you want to chime in.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm just looking at the charter to see if there's anything there. There's got to be something. We'll have to look.
I haven't found anything because I did look.
Um,
So again, there, from time to time, we have to sign off on, certain commitments, certain expenditures, certain contracts, so on and so forth. Can it be done with 2 commissioners?
No. So there's also going to be, when the project at 711 Mass Ave is complete, you're also going to need to assess a privilege fee, and that requires a majority of the commission. And that document has to be signed and recorded. That's on my list of ongoing projects. So hopefully we have someone in place before that project is completed.
Is there a time frame expected for this project?
I honestly don't know. It looks to me like they're a ways out, just from, driving by. And it's upon connection to the sewer. So Bill would be able to tell you when they actually connect.
And what about any other nearest deadlines that you're aware of where we would need some kind of quorum to sign or meet, vote on something that's absolutely a deadline somewhere coming up?
So the special town meeting articles, which I think you guys just covered, The NIPD's plan is a ways out. The manhole IFB is going to be awarded based on cost and responsive bidder. So typically that would be done by the procurement officer and Bill. They would certainly let you know who was awarded the contract. The connections Bill typically does anyway. Any sewer extension won't be able to go forward without a full commission. Privilege fees, as I mentioned, would have to be approved. Once we get to the budget cycle, which is fast approaching, that has to be approved by a majority.
So the only somewhat pressing item would be the warrant for the town meeting.
Mhm.
Well, don't we have to sign off regularly on financial commitments?
Yes, but that won't be due again until November.
Okay,
And I don't think there's too much in the pipeline. If someone was interested in a sewer extension, I mean that's a fairly long process. And there's no one that I'm aware of, Paula, Bill, are you aware of anyone who's interested in an extension right now?
I am not.
It's a difficult situation, and I'm thinking maybe the town can reach out to someone who was a previous sewer commissioner, and maybe they would be willing to be appointed until the time which a new commissioner is found. I'm sure that could be done because they can appoint someone.
What about a select board member? Because they used to handle this, right?
They can't serve on two elected bodies.
Oh.
No individual can serve on two elected bodies.
Good idea, though, John. We could.
All right, I'll today's Tuesday, right? I'll try to talk to Carter on tomorrow or Thursday and run that kind of thing by him. And maybe reach out to someone on the select board about the same thing.
And get this letter right out.
Mm-hmm.
Come one, come all.
And certainly can help stuff and fold letters, I guess. I've done that to sewer bills in the past.
And thank you, Mike, again for offering to do that letter to the editor.
Okay, any other further discussion about being a short sewer commissioner? We have 3 until the end of the week. Okay, the next item is the line repair. Paula or Bill, do you want to talk about that?
So I had sent out the estimate from MP. He reminded me he had done this at the end of last fiscal year or last calendar year. And we didn't have the money at that point. Actually, it was in March. And so I tabled it and put the funds in for this fiscal year. I had budgeted 70,000. I'm now estimating it's going to be higher than that. CTEs, this is for replacement of the suction lines on Mass 1. As you guys know, we repaired the force main and were informed at that time that the suction lines had to be replaced as well. So the cost from our contractor is $64,625. And on top of that, you need to add the pumping, which was in the $8,000 neighborhood for the replacement of the force main. So I'm assuming it will be similar. It may be different, but right now what I'm budgeting is for it to be similar. So I would need your authorization to go ahead and move forward with that project if you so desire.
Okay, I just want to clarify, the estimate that you sent out is sort of replacement of the two pumps, correct?
Shouldn't be. No. So they're gonna remove one line because each
Okay.
line is attached to a suction line.
Yes,
So they're
yeah,
gonna remove one pump and one line and use the other pump and then,
okay, yeah, I'm confusing two different things here.
yeah. So it's not replacement of the pumps, it's a replacement of the lines attached to the.
Placing the
pumps.
lines.
Yeah.
And so the cost is gonna be the 64,625 plus the pumping,
Correct.
and how much was that again, Paula?
I'm estimating the pumping for the last repair was 8,000, and since it's the same line, maybe Bill, you can, maybe it will be double, because it might be longer. I don't know, what do you think?
So what, estimated time, 3 to 4 days per side?
Oh, wow,
Yeah, so the pumping will be a lot more.
holy cow.
Well, it,
Three
could
to
I-
four, three to
could I
four
said
per
that,
side?
okay,
Yeah.
unless I'm yeah, maybe I'm looking at the wrong document. I'm just gonna read it. Subcontractor proposal to include intention is to remove one unit and make repair at a time and have the system run on one pump to reduce the or eliminate pumping costs. See attached proposal. So it sounded like they were going to try to keep one line going, one pump
That's how I read it.
while they're working on the other one. And when the first one is fixed, that one will be working.
You're right, and then it just says any pumping if required by others on the second page.
Right. So, perhaps we could vote on this estimate and somehow word it and to include necessary pumping.
I would put an amount on it, an up to amount, just so
Okay,
that.
well
you
then
have
why
a-
don't we go with,
Well, I don't know, Bill, what do you think?
Yeah, well, it is an estimate, so it could come under or could come over. If it takes 3 days, it's probably a little less. If it takes 5 days, it's gonna be more. Yeah,
well, let me ask,
Cool.
how soon do you think this project would start?
He gave me a call to remind me that it needs to be done, and I think that, he'd have to line up the company that they work with. But I would think within the next couple months.
Okay, let's be optimistic that we'll have a quorum within that time period.
Hmm.
So if maybe we could vote on this estimate with, and include up to $6,000 in pumping. And if we don't need it, that's great.
I would recommend up to 8.
Okay. So are we all on the same page with this?
Yes.
Okay, Brett?
Absolutely, but this goes over the budget we had aside for this. Where do we go from there?
It doesn't, and that's actually well, it does, but it doesn't, we're still within the total
Okay.
number of our budget, and I want to go over some adjustments because the postage is
Okay.
gonna throw us over for the
The pump.
mailing. There's a
Okay.
couple other things that I want to go over, so there are gonna be some line item transfers that we need to do, and I did, when I talked to the town manager today about the letter, I did let him know that will be coming. But we certainly have enough money within our existing budget to cover the cost of the project.
Okay, great.
Okay, so
I'm on board.
all right, so if someone wants to make a motion to accept the estimate from CTE dated 3/5/24, estimate number 3278 for the repair of the lines of at $64,625 plus an additional up to $8,000 for pumping.
So moved.
Some,
Okay. Brett, was that you seconding it?
seconding that, yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's take a vote. Brett,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
and I for myself, the motion passes. Okay. The next item is budget adjustments. Paula, I'll let you take this.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen if that's okay.
That's fine. Yep.
Okay, can everybody see the screen?
Yep.
Yes.
So our betterment revenue is down, based on the estimated amount. We had been using numbers provided by the prior finance director, which are significantly different at this point. So there's a decrease of 18,000 in our betterment numbers. You can see here, this is the original amount and the revised amount. So in order to cover some of that shortfall, I decreased the consulting services line item, which this is the new line item that we had added when Barb left. That may or may not be a number that we need, but that number is included in the outsourcing. So if we look here, I decreased it. So basically this outsourcing line item, I decreased to $7,330 from 14. Excuse me one second. Hello? Oh, sorry, I got nervous. The cleaning lady came in.
Okay.
I'm in the office. So I've decreased that line item. Utilities, our costs are way up. Much more than I anticipated, so I've increased that line item. Unitil did have a rate increase, and that is certainly affecting us. I decreased legal because we did not use our legal budget last year. Engineering, I don't anticipate a huge amount in engineering, although we are going to need to do some engineering with Wright Pierce on the NIPD's permit. But I think we can phase that because the first report is not due until 2026. So we still have 25,250 in that line item. Office expenses, I've increased to cover the postage overruns, plus the stamps went up to 69 cents, which I had not anticipated. Capital expenditures, I decreased the contingency amount, and I moved some items to fiscal 26 to cover the Mass 1 line repair. The supplier capital contribution, I increased because actually, and I have to admit there was an error in the spreadsheet. So I've increased that. Supplier connection fees, although we had raised the connection cost, I didn't raise that line item, so I've increased it to cover 4 connections. We haven't seen a plethora of requests because I think the cost is now off-putting to people, but I do want to cover at least 4. So our bottom line remains the same, but our total expenditures goes down slightly, as does our revenue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Any questions for Paula on that? No?
Okay, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Chair, I would like an authorization to request these line item transfers officially.
Okay, does someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for that transfer that Paula just mentioned.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing
John,
none-
John,
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
have one comment. We're only, what, 2 months into the fiscal year, so moves like this, normally you wouldn't do this early in the fiscal year, but seeing now we're coming into a new business manager, it's probably good that she has the budget, you know, all balanced out the way it should be. So I recommend going forward with it at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, and
Mr. Chair, I'll just comment, that's exactly why I did it, Bill. Normally, you wouldn't do this until the end of the year, but since I
Right.
know some of the numbers are off, I thought, well, at least let her start with what I think is realistic.
Right.
She may still have to do additional transfers. Honestly, she probably will, but at least she can start the year with the correct
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah.
and the thing that I have always found very frustrating, being a commissioner responsible for an enterprise fund, and this is no fault of the business manager, whether it was Paula or Barbara. It is so hard for us to know where we are on a week-to-week basis because we rely on the town's input and the town's numbers, and we're always behind in getting the information that we need. And I'm not criticizing the town. I think it's probably not unusual, but it just makes it very frustrating. I mean, I couldn't run my household that way. Anyway, we had a motion on the table.
Just imagine what the government, running the government, it's like.
Okay. We had a motion and a second. We'll
I'll
take-
second that, yes.
Okay.
I think I did.
Yeah, I think you already did. We'll take a roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
and I for myself, the motion passes. Okay. Paula, the business manager's report.
So the grease trap update, let me just stop sharing. I did send out, or I've drafted all the renewals for the establishments that have grease traps, both internal and external. I did want to just give you an update on non-compliance and find out what you want to do. When you made the changes to the grease trap regulations in last February, you set the fee at $150 and there's no difference between compliance and non-compliance. However, you did leave a $100 fine in, and I don't know if at this point you want to enforce that for anyone that is non-compliant, or if you want to just send a note with the letter saying they're currently non-compliant. The establishment that's currently non-compliant right now is Kindred Spirits. They have missed a couple of their First Tuesday reports. And then from the Interceptor report, everyone is compliant except a couple of the establishments Wind River has not been using our form. They're just sending their report, which is really not sufficient. It doesn't give us the information about the fog or the sludge or the amount of grease. So I've instructed the two establishments that has happened to make sure that Wind River submits the reports. But other than that, all the externals are compliant. There have been a couple slips with a couple establishments a few days late, but nothing egregious other than that one establishment.
All right, so you're looking for us to decide whether we want to impose the fines.
Exactly.
I mean, these fines didn't come about. I mean, we can't blame this one on Munis, right?
Nope.
So I guess my feeling is because in the past, if we let these things slip, I think it only can get worse.
The only thing that I would say, Mr. Chairman, is to be quite honest, is this office has been completely consumed by billing. And in the past, we would send reminders. And I haven't done that because quite frankly, I haven't had the time. I did do that today to a couple people who I haven't received their August report for their July reports. But that's the only reason I'm kind of on the fence about it, because we weren't as diligent as we had been in the past about sending reminders.
Okay, that's good information. Brett, Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, again, you know, given that there's no reason for the lateness, there's no extenuating circumstances, I think it's appropriate that we impose the fine.
Right?
Well, this is probably our last chance to make this decision for a while, potentially as well. I think I might. I think we might have to impose it, because it could be a couple months, could be a month or two before we have a chance to come back to this.
Okay, and you already heard my view about imposing it, so does someone want to make a motion?
Point of information, what would be the amount of the fine this time?
$100.
Oh, I make a motion, we impose the fine.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion?
Well,
Seeing none, go ahead.
One comment. When I talked about non-compliance, I was talking about for fiscal 24. There are 3 establishments right now that have not submitted their July reports, which were due the second Tuesday of August. I have sent reminders to those establishments. Do you want to hold off on finding those individuals until a future meeting, or what do you want to do there?
Well, they're late, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
We're a month behind, less.
Right.
so I would say let the motion stand as is. Unless there's any further discussion.
So meaning just that one establishment right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that everyone else's understanding?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Let's take a vote. Brett,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
and I for myself, the motion passes. Okay, Paula, the next part should only take like 60 seconds, right?
Well, I sent, and I thought of a couple projects after I sent that I have to add. So this is going to be kind of an evolving list, but I did send out a document that outlines the various things that I've been working on or need to work on. We talked about the special town meeting articles. The manhole IFB is out with Julie, the procurement officer, and we're waiting for that to come back. It is imperative that that goes out as soon as possible so that we can have the contract in place. So Bill, anything you can do to follow up with Carter and Julie to get that out?
Yep, so Carter had that discussion with Julie, and I actually offered my services to Julie to review some of the other contracts just to give her a hand, so I'll do what I can to get it out.
Okay.
Okay.
An emergency
Just
response
If I
plan.
could
that
just
was some-
interrupt for a moment.
Yep.
This list, Paula and I talked about, even if we hadn't, Paula would have done this anyway, coming up with a list that really it serves a few purposes. One, it's sort of a checklist for Bill, a checklist for the new business manager, and a checklist for the remaining commissioners, just so they can keep track of all of the ongoing projects and issues. So go ahead, Paula.
So the emergency response plan, that was something that I really wanted to do when I first came on board, but then Munis happened. So that needs to happen. And especially based on the couple situations where we've had, especially on Harris Street, we do have to have an emergency response plan in place so that we know who to call and what occurs, what the reporting requirements are, et cetera. The NIPD's permit, that went into effect on March 1st of this year. We need to do an adaptation plan, update our operation and maintenance plan. And there is a component of an alternate power source, which I'm not worried about because we already have alternate power sources in all of our stations. But that has to happen. There's several connections that are in progress and permits that are in progress. And one extension that is going to need to have, I just got the approval for the purchase order to get a check cut. So that will be ready to be recorded when the new business manager is on board. I mentioned the privilege fees that are going to have to be assessed. The budget we just went over. That's a living thing. It changes all the time. Grease trap permits, the renewals will go out tomorrow. Oil water separators, that will also go out tomorrow. Capital improvements, we just approved the Mass 1 section line, but there's also a significant amount of work that needs to happen on Dana, and I did budget for that work. So once, obviously, I don't think you want to take on too much at one time, but the money is there for the Dana repair. So that money should be, that project should go forward, time permitting. The energy grant, we had worked with the Green Communities Committee last year or over the summer, and we found that we weren't really eligible because we didn't have significant energy savings. However, we were told that the Dana Street project would potentially qualify. And so we could potentially have funding available of $45,000 from a grant. So I sent an email to Tay, to the Green Communities chair, asking if they do plan to submit a fall budget. Their intent is they want to go for the maximum amount that can be awarded, because once they get this award, they can't go back for another 3 years, I think. So they wanted to bundle a couple projects together. So the email that I sent today was asking if they do intend to submit a grant application, and if so, if this project could be included, because we have all the data we need. Bill had worked with a couple people to get all the data together that we needed. So it's ready to go if the Green Communities agrees that they'll submit it.
Wow, you've been busy.
I have.
She's still in the office. What are you
I'm
kidding?
still in the office. The ongoing Munis issues, you guys are all aware of. And then the other thing that I've really been working on is just cleaning up stuff. There's some files at the TCP that really should be here. The betterment documents, the easement documents, the sewer extension documents are all kind of bundled together. They really should be in the appropriate files for the various properties. So that's something I had been working on and hope will continue. And then there's an enormous amount of unnecessary paperwork in the file cabinets. And as I said, there is someone working on that, and I know Jane's worked on that. But that's something that I hope will continue, just because it makes things a lot easier. And I'm sure I'm going to think of several other things. I already thought of one. So that list will keep going until I leave on Thursday. And then I will be back, to do training and hopefully can help.
But Paula,
Verify
you'll
any
always be
items.
part of the sewer department.
What?
I said, you'll always be part of the sewer department.
So I'm, hopefully I can help the new business manager get off the ground.
Right. Okay, where do we stand right now with renewing CTE?
We have renewed them through August of 25.
Okay, good. So that's.
And we actually just got a communication from them. We need the procurement officer to send the letter of extension, and Bill sent an email to Julie today asking her to do that.
Okay.
So basically what situation we were in is we can renew the contract up to 3 years without going back out to bid. And there was some concern from CTE that they were going to go to another vendor for generators, and they might have to adjust the contract price. And what we determined is if the contract price is adjusted, then the entire contract has to go back out to bid. So CTE has left the costs as stated in the original contract. So there've been no changes, and we extended it for a year and then can extend it for another year.
Okay, great. And then the only other thing is, when Paula, you, Bill, and I met with Wright Pierce several months ago now, one of the things we all talked about state revolving funds. And it's really for pretty major projects, but if I remember right, there was some discussion about the possibility of applying for funds for, a 5, 6, 10-year capital plan. If I think I remember correctly, sound like $250,000 is sort of the minimum number that you would want to submit to the state, but
Mm-hmm.
just let's, sort of keep that one in the back of our heads. That still might be an opportunity to help fund some of these repairs for an aging system.
I'll add that to my notes under the capital improvements. Wade did mention that there are a number of generators that are nearing their end of life. So replacement of the generators would be a fantastic thing to get state revolving loan funds. And in the event that the Dana Street project doesn't go forward this year, that would be another excellent project to
Right.
potentially use state revolving funds.
Okay. The only other two are little ones, which I've mentioned to Bill. The telephone wire at Dana Street. I know you have that in your notes. And I keep forgetting
So,
what you.
John?
Yep.
The telephone wire, Dana Street, I called Verizon. I actually got a call from a tech who couldn't find it, so a tech went out there. I didn't get any feedback to see if they actually fixed it, but I'll have to go over and take a look. It might be all fixed.
Well, I'm feeling kind of optimistic that it is, because you can't miss it because it's draping over the fence, unless that's not a telephone wire.
No, he couldn't find the station.
He couldn't find the station, Dana
Yeah.
Street. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had it as 0 Dana Street. I said, no, the other end of Dana Street.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm sure he
I
found
misunderstood
it.
you.
You can't miss it.
All right. Well, at least they're trying to look at it. Okay.
Mhm.
And the other was that getting the stand for the meter to measure flow.
Yes, and I reached out to
Right.
RF Mahoney, and yeah, they said they would take care of it, but
He
again,
said
no-
he'd get
no-
right on it, didn't he?
yeah, right. No
Okay.
feedback since then, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
That's all I had on the list. Any questions from anyone regarding that? No? FY24 budget review.
So unfortunately, I was hoping when I put this together that the fiscal 24 budget would be closed, and it's not. So I can't really give you a complete
Right.
overview. I can tell you that I believe we will have a surplus this fiscal year. And one of the main reasons for that surplus is that there were a lot of properties sold and betterments were paid off. So I believe we will have a surplus, but I'm not comfortable saying how much until the fiscal year is closed.
Yeah, and of course, that impacts our
I'm
betterment.
sorry?
That impacts our betterment stream down the road.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Any questions for Paula on any of the business managers' topics? Okay. Seeing none, I think that pretty much covered the old business. Do we have any public comments from anyone?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank you for your service to the Sewer Commission, John. You have been a true advocate of this department, and you're going to be greatly missed. Your guidance and willingness to step in when needed, whether it be folding or whether it be meeting or whatever it is, you're always there to help out. And I just want to thank you for all your time and dedication. And I've really enjoyed working with you. And I wish you the best, and hopefully we'll see you back on the commission at some point in the future.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Maybe we'll come back to sewers at the same time. Who knows?
Maybe.
And again, I would second that. One of the things that's going to be missed tremendously is, the depth of experience and history and knowledge that you've brought to the commission, and it'll be sorely missed.
Thank you, Mike.
Going to be terribly missed. I thank you for your constant input and your professionalism and handling this commission with the greatest of ease. And we're going to miss you, and we do hope to get you back when you're able.
All right, I
So-
appreciate that.
So
And
thank you.
as I've said before, being on the sewer commission has been fun, enjoyable, and it's been great to work with all of you.
Yeah, John, I just
Very
want to
good.
echo what everybody else has said. And it's been a pleasure working with you, and you've been amazing. You always are in the office, want to know what's going on. You're reading all the manuals, and I don't know too many commissioners that will come out at midnight with me chase a spill, but you did. You were there.
That was way past my bedtime, Bill. I think when Paula called me, I was about ready to go to bed.
Mm.
Anyway, I was glad I could help. Okay.
You're going to
Any
be
other-
missed, John. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? All right.
Best of luck, Paula.
Thank you.
I know
Thank
we've
you.
said this, but
I'm gonna miss you guys.
congratulations. Gonna miss you too.
The upcoming meetings are September 10th,
Maybe.
God willing.
September 24th, October 8th, and October 29th. And I'm being optimistic that at least you'll have one on the 24th.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
Does anyone want to make a motion? My final meeting. To close,
make
to
a-
close the meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting this evening.
Second,
Seeing no further discussion, we'll take a vote here. Brett,
Aye.
Mike,
aye.
and I for myself. The August 27th, 2024 meeting is concluded. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you all. Good night.
night.